Welcome to the deep dive. We live in a world that's just constantly buzzing, right?
Yeah.
Cities hum, planes are always flying overhead, messages nonstop streaming into our phones, into our hands. It's this relentless energy that defines so much of modern life. But if you pause, if you really listen closely, beneath all that activity, there's often this surprising silence. It's the kind of quiet you only really hear when you finally stop moving? Long enough for your soul to catch up, a space where the usual maps we use for our lives well, they just sort of fade away.
And it's right there in that silence, that pause, that what the author Lóng Tíng calls the dragon waits. Now, this isn't the fire-breathing monster from stories, not a dragon of conquest. No, this dragon is different. It's more ancient, much more patient. It kind of breathes between worlds. It doesn't hurry. It's wise. It acts as a keeper of these really deep questions, questions that just resist quick answers, easy solutions. Think of it as maybe the sum of our unresolved stuff, our hidden potential, maybe even that quiet inner voice, all just waiting for us to pay attention. It really represents the deeper work, the stuff that goes beyond the daily grind, beyond the quarterly reports. It invites us into this space of, well, genuine inner searching.
And that quiet, really powerful idea is exactly where we're headed today. Our deep dive is into the incredible work of Lóng Tíng and his really captivating book, Breath of the Dragon, Leadership Koans for a World in Transition. Lóng Tíng himself, he's quite a figure, describes himself as someone walking many paths, a bridge builder between cultures, an author whose words seem to travel across languages, a guide for leaders today in navigating a world that just refuses to stay in neat boxes anymore. He's a real polymath, embodying this idea of fluid leadership.
Yeah, and what's really compelling about his approach and kind of the mission of this deep dive is how his work offers not instructions, but invitations. It's a journey that doesn't tell you what to think. Not at all. Instead, it invites you to think differently, maybe feel differently, and ultimately to lead differently. And this approach, as we'll get into, can be this surprising shortcut to really profound insights, especially for those of us trying to lead well in this messy, complex, interconnected world we're in. So our source material today is mainly excerpts from this book, Breath of the Dragon, gives us a direct window. It's less about adding to your already long to-do list and much more about shifting your whole perspective.
Right. So let's unpack this a bit more. Let's dive into the architect of the dragon's breath, Lóng Tíng's big vision and all the different ways he shares it. He talks about his core philosophy as this daily weave where leadership and art are constantly shaping each other, like a dance, really, both asking the same fundamental question. How do we lead in a way that honors both the soul and the system? That phrase, soul and system, when you hear that, what does it bring up for you thinking about leadership today?
Oh, that's such a crucial distinction, isn't it? Honoring both. For leaders now, it means moving beyond just strategy or logistics. That's the system part. The system is the measurable stuff, operations, the structure, KPIs, financials, org charts, all the tangible things we usually link with business success. But the soul, that's the human piece. Empathy, purpose, the culture, the actual well-being of the people in that system. And, critically, the leader's own inner clarity and integrity. So it's about balancing those hard metrics with the softer skills of human connection. It's making sure that while we're chasing efficiency and growth, we don't lose sight of the humanity that drives it all. A leader's job here is to make sure external success doesn't hollow out the internal integrity for themselves and the team. You can imagine a company hitting targets, but everyone's burnt out.
Yeah, absolutely. System succeeding, soul failing.
Exactly. Lóng Tíng says sustainable leadership needs both, has to have both.
And what's really remarkable is just how many different ways Lóng Tíng gets this vision across. He's not stuck in one medium. Obviously, there are his leadership books like Global Leadership Insights 2030 and others. He describes them as, and I like this, pages becoming places to meet and words becoming pathways across cultures. So it's this deliberate connection through writing, trying to build bridges where language or culture might usually create walls. A book isn't just content for him, it's a meeting place.
And it doesn't stop there. Beyond the page, these principles come alive on stages, through music, through art. He explains how these aren't just entertainment. They embody the same leadership principles. Things like deep listening, leading with presence, building trust without even needing spoken commands. Think about that power leadership that goes beyond words. He talks about an upcoming Journey to the West concert as a perfect example. This concert, it's not just a show, it's a living metaphor for what it means to lead through connection rather than control. It brings together voices, instruments from all across Asia, each unique. But they create this single harmonious piece, and there's no single conductor dictating every note, every breath.
Right, it's more collaborative.
Exactly. It's about deep listening, anticipating, responding to each other, letting a shared purpose emerge from all that diversity. It's not top-down orders, it's connection, shared understanding. It's a really powerful lesson in how unity can come from diversity, not through force, but through genuine connection.
That's a really fascinating way to show leadership through art. Makes you wonder about applying that off stage. And it keeps going, right? He's also involved in cultural projects. Projects that carry, as he puts it, the quiet threads of empathy and understanding, fostering connection more subtly. And maybe the most intriguing thing, he's launching a gaming studio.
Yes, the gaming studio is, well, it's a really innovative move, using the immersive power of interactive stories to potentially develop leadership skills. Think about it. In a game, you're not just reading about empathy. You might actually feel the consequences of your choices within a story.
Right, you experience it directly.
Precisely. You're not just told to lead with presence. You're challenged to observe, react in a dynamic situation. Maybe negotiating peace or guiding a team through some ethical maze. This kind of medium can embed principles so deeply they become almost intuitive, moving beyond just knowing about them to actually, well, embodying them. It's a powerful way to cultivate that soul aspect of leadership by engaging the whole person, intellect, emotions, decision-making under pressure. It gives you a safe space to practice, to fail, learn, and really live these principles, not just theorize. Imagine the debrief after a tough in-game scenario. The insights could be incredible.
So as you're listening, maybe just consider how these incredibly varied approaches, books, concerts, gaming, how they reinforce Lóng Tíng's idea. The idea that leadership is so much more than just business metrics. It's an art, a way of being, a constant journey of understanding and connection. Now let's shift focus a bit. Let's look at where these profound Koans actually came from, their origin story. You might expect a leadership book to start in a boardroom and maybe a lecture hall, but Lóng Tíng reveals a much more personal, unexpected beginning for Breath of the Dragon. He says it didn't start in some structured place, but in a moment when his life no longer obeyed my maps. Wow, that phrase alone just paints such a picture.
It's incredibly poignant, isn't it? Life no longer obeyed my maps. It seeps right to those moments of profound disorientation we all hit sometimes, especially leaders who are often used to having a clear plan, a defined path forward. Lóng Tíng describes being in this strange emptiness, a place where my languages could not save me, where titles and achievements meant nothing. And that's a critical point. It strips away all the external stuff, the validation, the familiar ways of operating. In those moments of vulnerability, when our usual tools just fail us, we're forced inward. And that often comes right before the deepest breakthroughs, personal and professional, because it forces us to look beyond what we think we know, discover new things inside ourselves. It's like fertile ground for massive reevaluation, transformation, a kind of forced humility that clears the path for real insight. It's where the old certainties just crumble and new possibilities emerge, sometimes painfully, sometimes beautifully.
And it was right there, in that deep emptiness, stripped of his usual frameworks, that an old question came back to him. He reveals it was this. What if the leadership the world needs is born not from knowing, but from sitting with what we do not know?
This is where everything really pivots, isn't it?
Oh, completely. That question just turns conventional leadership ideas upside down. We're so often taught leaders must be decisive, knowledgeable, have all the answers. The mantra is act fast, know everything.
Right, the pressure to know. Exactly. But Lóng Tíng suggests not knowing isn't weakness. It could actually be a source of immense strength. When a leader can embrace not knowing, they open themselves up to new information, diverse views, listening more deeply, learning from unexpected places, even from the people they lead. It cultivates humility, curiosity, which are absolutely vital for navigating ambiguity, for fostering innovation in this fast-changing world. For you, listening, seeking those aha moments, this is where they live, in that willingness to admit you don't know everything, exploring the unknown with an open mind. It's about being okay with the discomfort of uncertainty. That's a hallmark of truly transformative leadership. It's a bold stance against, well, the illusion of always knowing.
And that question, he says, it became a door. And behind that door were 36 moments, what he calls kazaiwans.
Yes, and he's really specific about what these koans are not. He says, not teachings, not instructions, but koans, short, unanswerable invitations. That distinction is crucial. They aren't meant to give you a neat solution or a step-by-step plan. They don't tell you what to think. They don't soothe you with certainty, not at all. Instead, they provoke. They challenge your assumptions. They invite deep reflection. Lóng Tíng uses this really vivid analogy. Koans place you on a mountain path, then remove the path and ask, where will you step now?
Wow, that's quite an image.
Isn't it? It perfectly captures the discomfort and the profound growth that comes from engaging with a koan. It forces you to rely on your own inner compass to make a choice without a map. And that leads to a deeper understanding of your own intuition, your capabilities. It's about developing that inner resilience to navigate uncharted territory, an invaluable skill for any leader facing unknowns every day. It's about cultivating the capacity to lead, not just learning a new leadership technique.
Now, before these 36 koans, Lóng Tíng talks about what he calls the three poems of the beginning. He says they weren't planned, they just arrived like sudden weather, each one carrying a piece of a place, a presence, a truth. He sees them as these glimpses into the dragon's first breath, kind of a poetic prelude to the wisdom in the koans. It really feels like it sets the stage for a different kind of thinking, doesn't it?
Yeah, the choice of poetry as a prelude is really significant because, just like the koans, poetry doesn't usually give direct instructions. Instead, it invites reflection. It evokes feelings, ideas through images and metaphors. It prepares your mind for a different kind of engagement, one that leans more towards intuition and feeling, rather than just rigid logic. It's about experiencing truth, not just being told about it. These poems set a contemplative tone, hinting at the deeper truths the koans will then challenge you to uncover. They aren't answers, but sensory experiences, opening the mind to a more nuanced way of seeing things, preparing you to hear those subtle whispers of wisdom that often get drowned out in our noisy lives. They are doors, like you said, not destinations.
Let's hear the first one then. It's titled Whisper of the Dragon. Golden roofs beneath the skies, crimson walls with stories old, palace whispers through the haze, dragons carved on pillars tall, moonlight flows across the hall.
That poem, Whisper of the Dragon, it instantly puts you in a place steeped in history, ancient wisdom. The golden roofs, crimson walls. They speak of a majestic past. And the dragons carved on pillars tall, they're not just decoration, right? They embody centuries of knowledge, power, as Lóng Tíng explains it. This is the stillness of history, breathing the quiet way the past places its hand on your shoulder and asks you to remember. For leaders, that's a profound reminder. The importance of historical awareness, humility. It means recognizing you're part of something bigger, building on what came before, understanding the foundations of your organization, your industry, your culture, respecting that legacy. It's not just knowing facts, it's listening to the quiet echoes of past successes, failures, learning from them without being trapped by them, letting that deep historical context inform your decisions now. It also suggests that real leadership isn't only about charging ahead, but also about honoring, carrying forward the essence of what's endured, finding wisdom in those quiet whispers from the past.
Okay, and now the second poem, The Soul of the Gushan. Fractured moonlight on bamboo spine, lofty tones scatter clouds far away, roots beneath winter's breath hide their longing. The Gusheng does not speak. Its lingering tones follow deep into bone.
Yeah, this one shifts the focus from the visual grandeur of a palace to the subtle, almost intangible power of sound, of inner experience. The Gusheng does not speak in words, yet its lingering tones follow deep into bone. That really captures the essence of unspoken communication, intuitive understanding. Lóng Tíng interprets this as, this is a sound between sound, the part of you that hears what cannot be played and carries it long after the song has ended.
The sound between sounds.
Exactly. For leaders, this speaks directly to the importance of active listening. Not just to the words, but to the nuances, the emotions, the unspoken cues that drive interactions. It's about recognizing the hidden messages within a team, sensing underlying tensions, or picking up on unspoken hopes people might not say directly. True leadership often needs that ability to intuit the unspoken, to understand the emotional landscape of a situation, to respond to needs that haven't been clearly stated. It's about cultivating that deeper awareness that lets you connect with people beyond just surface chat, really feeling the lingering tones of human experience. This intuitive grasp is crucial for building trust, empathy, the bedrock of good leadership. It's the leader who notices that slight shift in body language or senses the unspoken resistance in the room who can really get to the root of an issue.
And the third poem, A Reverent Offering to the Jade Emperor, a Quiet Blessing. O Jade Emperor above, sovereign of the heavens, under your merciful gaze, I met someone, not a passerby, but one who touches my soul. I know this is no accident, no mere twist of fate. May this bond endure, never fading.
This last poem is such a powerful expression of deep gratitude and recognizing meaningful connection. It's a blessing, an offering, acknowledging a bond that goes way beyond the superficial. Lóng Tíng's meaning really illuminates it. This is gratitude in its truest form, not for the gift itself, but for the thread that ties two lives together in the quiet design of something greater. In a leadership context, this speaks volumes about the role of connection, empathy, maybe even serendipity in building strong teams, strong networks.
That element of fate or design.
Right. It's about appreciating the unique presence, the contributions of individuals. Recognizing that key relationships are often more than just professional deals. They're meaningful bonds that enrich the whole group. This kind of gratitude, it fosters loyalty, deepens collaboration, creates a supportive space where people feel seen, valued, connected. For a leader, fostering this sense of meaningful connection, acknowledging those deeper threads binding a team, that's far more powerful than any purely transactional approach. It encourages a culture where people feel, well, blessed to work together, leading to lasting impact, a shared purpose that's more than just tasks. It's about recognizing the sacredness in human connection, even at work.
It's really clear these poems aren't meant to give direct answers. Instead, like Lóng Tíng says, they're doors. And the 36 koans are the rooms waiting beyond those doors, inviting you into a deeper, more experiential journey. They really do prepare your mind for a different way of learning. So now we step further in, get a glimpse of what Lóng Tíng calls the 7 circles of koans, these profound paths of inner leadership. He organizes the 36 koans into these 7 circles, each with a common pulse, suggesting they're grouped by theme. But he's clear he won't reveal all of them, wanting to preserve that deeper journey for you, the listener, the person walking the path.
It's a thoughtful approach, isn't it? He compares it to walking through a garden at night, where we just pause by 7 flowers, offering us this curated, almost canalizing preview, not an exhaustive map. This really emphasizes the personal nature of the journey. The koans aren't meant to be just passively consumed. You have to actively engage with them.
Right, it's not a checklist.
No. It's an invitation to explore, discover, let the wisdom unfold at your own pace, which makes for a more impactful, lasting experience for the individual. This also reinforces that idea of self-discovery, letting you find your own meaning within the structure. It's a journey where the guide points the way, but you have to take every step yourself.
Okay, so let's step into this metaphorical garden and glimpse these 7 selected koans, one from each circle. We'll start with circle 1, which is focused on trust.
The koan for circle 1 is, the bridge sways in the wind, you cross anyway. It's a powerful image. Immediately brings up that feeling of uncertainty, vulnerability. Lóng Tíng explains its meaning. Leadership in any form begins with this stepping into motion when there is no promise of stability. And he clarifies, trust is not the absence of risk. It is the decision to meet risk with presence.
That hits hard. Trust isn't safety, it's a decision.
Exactly. It challenges that common idea that trust is only built on certainty, on proven results. Instead, it suggests trust is forged in the act of courageously moving forward, despite the risks. For leaders, this means understanding that taking calculated risks is just part of progress, especially in volatile times. It's about showing your own conviction by taking that first step onto the swaying bridge, inspiring your team to come with you. It's not about being reckless, but about a calm resolve, that unwavering presence that lets you face the unknown. When a leader embodies this, it fosters this deep sense of team confidence, psychological safety, because the team sees their leader is willing to be in the uncertainty with them, not just demanding answers from afar. It's about trusting the process, trusting your own capacity, and by extension, the team's capacity to navigate whatever comes. The core takeaway here is that true trust isn't built on stability, but forged in the courageous decision to move forward despite its absence.
That makes so much sense. We often think of trust as something others give us, but this frames it as something we demonstrate, especially when things feel shaky. Okay, moving to circle 2, which centers on forgiveness.
The koan for circle 2 is, the lock has no key, but you open it with your hands. Again, quite profound. A statement about agency, about emotional liberation. Lóng Tíng's interpretation is clear. Forgiveness is not an intellectual act. It is an opening. And sometimes the opening is not for them, but for you.
So it's an internal act primarily.
Precisely. This koan shifts the focus of forgiveness away from just being an external thing aimed at someone else to an internal transformation. It suggests that holding on to resentment, anger, blame, it's like being trapped by a lock that only you can open, not with a key, but with a shift inside you. For leaders, the practical implications of this emotional freedom are huge. Holding on to old grievances, personal slights, professional setbacks. A failed project, it drains energy, clouds judgment, stops you moving forward. It can show up as, inability to delegate, reluctance to trust, difficulty building a truly collaborative space. By actively choosing forgiveness, opening with your hands, a leader releases those burdens, makes space for new growth, fresh perspectives, moving beyond the past. This isn't about saying harmful actions were okay. It's about freeing yourself from the emotional weight that holds back your effectiveness, your clarity. It lets you refocus on the present, the future. The core message is that the freedom of forgiveness isn't about letting others off the hook. It's about unlocking your own capacity to lead unburdened.
That's a really powerful idea. We often see forgiveness as being kind to someone else, but viewing it as unlocking our own freedom. That's a game changer for leadership. Okay, next up is circle 3, focusing on teacher and student.
The Quran for Circle 3 is, the well is shallow, the bucket is deep. This one brilliantly captures the dynamic, often back and forth nature of learning and growth in leadership. Longling explains, there are moments when the student is ready for more than the teacher offers, and moments when the teacher must learn to draw from a deeper place.
So it flips the traditional hierarchy.
Exactly. It challenges that view, where wisdom only flows top down. The shallow well could represent outdated knowledge, limited perspectives, maybe even the leader's own current limits or assumptions. But the deep bucket, that represents the huge untapped potential for learning, not just in the teacher, but also in the student. For leaders, this koan highlights the absolute necessity of lifelong learning, of humility. It encourages them to recognize that sometimes the best insights, the most innovative ideas, might come from unexpected places. Junior team members, people with different backgrounds, those seemingly in a student role. It's also a strong reminder for the leader themselves to constantly seek deeper wells of knowledge, challenge their own assumptions, be open to being taught. This fosters a culture of continuous learning, reciprocal mentorship, where everyone is both teacher and student, enriching the whole team's intelligence. True wisdom might just be waiting in the quietest voice on your team, or in the humility to admit you don't have all the answers. It's recognized that sometimes the deepest learning comes from unexpected places, even those you see as students.
Yeah, I think we've all had moments where a fresh perspective from someone unexpected totally changed how we saw things. Really underlines listening to everyone. Circle 4, the theme is self-reflection.
The coming in for Circle 4 is, you find your own footprints in the snow. This one immediately brings to mind that clear, undeniable evidence of your own journey, your impact. Longling states its meaning. To lead others without leading oneself is to walk in circles without knowing it.
Oof, walking in circles without knowing it.
It's an incredibly powerful, direct message about the essential role of self-awareness, introspection, in authentic leadership. Your footprints in the snow, they're a visible record. Your path, your choices, your habits, their consequences. Without self-reflection, a leader risks just operating on autopilot, repeating mistakes, maybe steering the team wrong without realizing it, unaware of their own biases, blind spots. It speaks to the idea that true leadership starts within. Before you can effectively guide others, you first have to understand your own motivations, values, strengths, weaknesses. This constant process of looking inward, examining your own footprints, makes sure your external actions align with your inner purpose. It's about accountability to yourself, a continuous practice of checking your impact, adjusting your course. Without this crucial internal leadership, external efforts can become superficial, reactive, or just plain ineffective, leaving you and your team walking in circles, not knowing why. The profound insight here is that your path as a leader is first etched in your own soul, not just in the directions you give others.
That's a sobering thought, the idea of unknowingly walking in circles. Really emphasizes that constant self-check isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. Circle 5 tackles courage.
The koan for Circle 5 is, the dragon sleeps in your shadow. This uses such a striking image to explore what courage really is. The dragon here isn't some external enemy, but something lurking inside you, in your shadow. This is our earlier dragon again, isn't it? But now explicitly tied to our inner world.
The internal dragon.
Yes. Longling reveals its meaning. Real courage is not the absence of fear. It is befriending what frightens you most. This challenges that common idea that courage means being fearless. Instead, it argues that true bravery is about acknowledging, understanding, even integrating your fears, your insecurities. The dragon in your shadow represents those inner doubts, fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of vulnerability, the discomfort of uncertainty. All the stuff we carry. To befriend this dragon means facing these fears, understanding where they come from, learning how to move forward with them, not be paralyzed by them. For leaders, this translates into a deep capacity for authentic, vulnerable leadership. It means having the courage to make tough calls, even when the outcome's unclear. Admit mistakes, ask for help, be transparent with your team even when it feels risky. It's moving beyond just putting on a brave face to embracing genuine inner strength, transforming fear from a roadblock into a source of wisdom, maybe even fuel for growth. It's about leading from a place of real self-acceptance, which then inspires others to do the same. So courage isn't about slaying your fears. It's about inviting them to sit at the table with you as you lead.
That's a powerful reframe of courage. Takes it from being some external heroic thing to an internal, ongoing process. Okay, Circle 6. We find the theme of awareness.
The koan for Circle 6 is, the tea cools while you argue. This seemingly simple image carries such a deep, immediate lesson about presence, about priorities. Lóng Tíng's meaning illuminates it. Awareness is the art of not missing what is quietly leaving.
Ooh, not missing what is quietly leaving.
Right. This koan is a potent metaphor for the danger of getting lost. Lost in pointless conflict, minor details, personal agendas. While more important, subtle, valuable things are just slipping away unnoticed. The cooling tea could represent missed opportunities, fading enthusiasm, critical insights, maybe a team's morale slowly dropping, or even losing connection with a key client or partner. For leaders, this emphasizes how vital it is to be truly present, observant. It's about developing the capacity to see beyond the loud, immediate stuff and notice the subtle shifts in the environment, team dynamics, market signals, the things that aren't shouted. It asks leaders to consider what's really important in any given moment, avoid the trap of overanalyzing or getting tangled in debates that stop progress. It encourages a holistic awareness, listening not just to words, but to silences, body language, the unspoken anxieties or hopes in the team. It's the art of truly perceiving the present moment fully, so you can respond effectively before something vital quietly disappears. The true cost of distraction isn't just what you miss, it's what quietly slips away from you while you're focused on the wrong battle.
I can definitely think of meetings where the tea absolutely cooled while pointless arguments dragged on. It's a vivid reminder to prioritize, stay present. And finally, Circle 7 on legacy.
The koan for Circle 7 is, you plant the tree knowing you will never see its shade.
Wow.
This koan presents such a profound challenge to our usual short-term, results-now world. It embodies the purest form of selfless, long-term leadership. Lóng Tíng states, in a world obsessed with immediate results, this is the truest form of leadership I know.
The truest form, planting for others.
Exactly. This powerful image speaks directly to long-term vision, selfless contribution. It highlights the kind of leadership that focuses on building lasting foundations, creating sustainable impact, fostering growth that goes far beyond your own time or immediate benefit. In a company or organization, this means investing in people, developing strong systems, nurturing a healthy culture, pursuing things whose full benefits might not show up for years, even decades after you've moved on. It requires huge patience, foresight, a deep commitment to something bigger than yourself, bigger than your personal wins. It's about being a steward, planting seeds not for your own shade, but for the shade of future generations. This koan defines a leader not by what they gain, but by what they leave behind, fostering a culture of sustained effort, shared purpose, a profound sense of responsibility for what comes next. So true leadership isn't measured by the shade you enjoy, but by the forest you plant for those who follow.
Wow. Each of these koans, even though they're so short, they have this incredible power to just make you think, to encourage a deeper look at ideas that seem simple on the surface but are really complex. They truly invite a whole new level of looking inward, understanding how we approach leadership. It's not about quick answers at all, is it? It's about that internal shift. Which brings us to a really crucial question that you, listening, might be asking right now. Okay, why koans for leadership? What do these fragments, these unanswerable invitations, actually have to do with running my team, managing a crisis, navigating tricky cultural stuff?
It's a fair question for any leader used to, actionable frameworks and clear steps.
And Lóng Tíng's answer is just unequivocal. Everything.
Good.
He argues that leadership is not a set of technical moves. It is a state of being that shapes every move you make. Now, that is a fundamental shift in perspective.
But it's not what you do, but who you are when you do it. Precisely. We often think of leadership as a toolkit strategy, communication, delegation skills. But Lóng Tíng suggests those are just the expressions of a deeper internal state. Inner clarity, self-awareness, emotional resilience, these foundational states of being ultimately determine how effective every external action is. When a leader cultivates this inner coherence, their decisions become more aligned, their presence more authentic, their influence deeper. It's about operating from a place of deep self-understanding, which naturally translates into greater external effectiveness, more impactful leadership. Think of it this way. A calm, clear leader can navigate a crisis much better than one who's internally chaotic, no matter how good their crisis management training was.
So it really is about the inner game as much as, if not more than, the outer game. And he emphasizes that a Kōan does not give you an answer. It teaches you to stay in the question. But for someone under pressure to solve problems, isn't there a risk that staying in the question just leads to getting stuck? Analysis paralysis, how does that work practically?
That's a really valid concern, and it gets right to the heart of why koans are so potent, especially now in this, VUCA world, volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous. In our world, flooded with information, there's immense pressure to find quick answers. Google it, fix it, move on.
Get it off the list.
Exactly. But Ting asserts that in the space between question and answer, you discover yourself. That space is where real self-discovery happens. What do you discover? He lists it. Your assumptions, your limits, your fears, your untapped strengths. By making you sit with discomfort, with ambiguity, with what you don't immediately know, a Koan bypasses the superficial stuff and gets to the core of who you are. It's a way to handle information overload not by consuming more, but by processing more deeply internally. It forces you to confront your inner landscape, revealing your thought patterns, emotional triggers, and often hidden strengths you didn't know you had. This deep introspection is vital for leaders. It builds the resilience, adaptability, authenticity needed to lead effectively through all this complexity and uncertainty. It empowers you to find answers not just from external data, but from within your own intuitive wisdom, transforming not knowing from a scary void into fertile ground for genuine insight. So it's not about paralysis. It's about developing the internal muscle to find clarity amidst the chaos, to generate new solutions that aren't the obvious ones.
That completely reframes a challenge. It's about building internal strength, not just collecting external facts. And he goes further, explaining why this specific space is sacred, especially in global leadership.
Yes, he explains that this internal space, the one you cultivate through Koan practice, is where empathy is born. When you pause, sit with a question, you create an opening inside yourself to understand not just your own inner workings, but the inner worlds of others too. This is absolutely critical for leading across different cultures. It's where you begin to lead across cultures without trying to control the conversation. So instead of imposing your own norms or expecting others to fit your mold, you learn to listen more deeply, observe, understand different perspectives from a place of real curiosity, respect.
Moving beyond just surface politeness.
Exactly. To deep appreciation. This fosters true cross-cultural understanding. And finally, he emphasizes this space is where you realize that presence is more persuasive than power. Well, in global leadership, just relying on hierarchy can be limiting. Cultural nuances make direct orders tricky. Koan practice teaches that authentic presence, being fully attuned, deeply listening, leading with inner clarity, builds much stronger bridges, achieves more lasting influence than any command or title. It's about genuine connection, understanding. Those are the best tools for navigating the complexities of a borderless world, fostering collaboration that truly transcends differences. It lets a leader lead not by ordering, but by resonating.
This sounds less like just another leadership technique and more like a really profound shift in your whole approach to living and leading. It's an invitation to cultivate a deeper way of being.
Exactly right. And that leads us straight to his practical invitation for you, the listener.
So how do we actually bring this wisdom into our busy lives? Lóng Tíng offers a very practical, very gentle invitation. He says, I'm not asking you to take all 36 koans and memorize them. I'm asking you to choose one, maybe one you heard today, and sit with it for a week. That feels incredibly doable, doesn't it? Just one.
It's a very actionable, non-overwhelming approach.
Yeah.
Perfect for integrating something profound into a packed schedule. And he gives simple yet deep suggestions for how to engage with your chosen koan. Write about it, draw it, tell it to a friend without explaining it. These activities encourage different ways of processing, right? Moving beyond just intellect, engaging creativity, intuition.
Letting it sink in differently.
And the core philosophy here is vital. Let it grow inside you without rushing it toward an answer. Because a koan is not solved, it is lived. This patient experiential approach is the total opposite of typical problem-solving methods that demand immediate answers, quick fixes. Instead, it advocates for this period of incubation, letting the koan just permeate your thoughts, your actions, slowly revealing its insights through your actual lived experience. It means letting the question just resonate, subtly reshape your perspective, your behavior over time. It's a journey of quiet transformation where understanding emerges from inside organically, not from some external instruction manual. It's about letting the wisdom unfold, kind of like a seed slowly pushing its way up through the soil.
As we start to wrap up this deep dive, Lóng Tíng offers us this beautiful, small ritual. It mirrors the end of his book. It's an invitation to join him, to join us in setting your own sail into this work.
It's a really powerful way to integrate what we've talked about today. So I invite you to join in wherever you happen to be listening. First, Just gently close your eyes. Now, breathe in slowly, as if you were drawing air right up from the roots of the oldest tree you can imagine. Feel that deep, ancient connection to something vast, enduring. Then breathe out gently, as if you were sending that breath right into the hands of someone who needs it. A release, a quiet offering of your presence out into the world. And finally, just place one question in your mind. It can be small, it can be huge, whatever feels right. And just let it rest there. Don't chase it. Don't analyze it. Just let it be. Let it resonate.
That question, Lóng Tíng says, is your lantern. Carry it until it changes you. That's such a profound thought to take away, isn't it? That the answers we're looking for often reveal themselves not through force or frantic searching, but through patient, internal work, illuminated by our own persistent questioning.
And Lóng Tíng leaves us with this final piece of wisdom. The dragon does not shout, it wakes. And when you are ready to listen, you will hear its breath in your own. It's a reminder that true understanding, like that dragon, it doesn't demand our attention. It just quietly resides within us, waiting for us to slow down enough to truly listen.
Until then, lead with presence, lead with questions, and let the circle be a way forward. As you step back into the buzz of your day, maybe consider which of the doors we opened today, which koan or poem really resonated with you, and perhaps choose to live it this coming week, allowing its wisdom to quietly transform your approach to leadership, and maybe even to life itself. Thank you for diving deep with us today.